Around 108 AD, one of Rome's best legions, a 5,000-strong force of battle-hardened soldiers, simply disappeared. The last anyone heard, they were marching into the mists of northern Britain. After that, nothing. Their vanishing act sparked a legend of a supernatural slaughter that has captivated us for 2,000 years. But the truth is a lot more complicated and stretches far beyond the Scottish Highlands. This is the story of Legio IX Hispana, Rome's ghost army, and the hunt for what really happened to the lost ninth. No records, no graves, no explanation. For nearly 2,000 years, the fate of the Ninth Legion has been one of history's greatest and most haunting cold cases. To really get the scale of this mystery, you have to understand what a Roman legion was, and the Ninth was something special. This wasn't just an army unit, it was a mobile city of engineers, administrators, and some of the most disciplined soldiers the world had ever seen. The Legio IX Hispana had a resume few could touch. Put together by Julius Caesar himself during his Gallic Wars around 58 BC, they were veterans of his most famous victories. They earned their title, Hispana, fighting for Emperor Augustus in the brutal wars that finally conquered Spain. So when Emperor Claudius decided to invade the wild island of Britannia in AD 43, it's no surprise the Ninth was one of the 4 legions leading the charge. They were crucial in smashing British resistance and putting the Roman stamp on the island. But Britain was a tough and unforgiving frontier. During the legendary revolt of Queen Boudica in AD 61, the Ninth marched to save the city of Camulodunum, what we now call Colchester. They walked right into an ambush and got mauled, suffering such catastrophic losses it almost broke the legion. But it didn't. The survivors were reinforced, they raised their standards high, and they got back in the fight, eventually setting up their main fortress at Eboracum, the city of York. From this northern base, they were the guardians of the frontier, a wall of steel against the unconquered tribes to the north. They were a storied, ferocious, and seemingly unbreakable force. And then, silence. The last definitive record of the Ninth Legion in Britain is a stone gate they built in York, dedicated to the Emperor Trajan in AD 108. After that, they vanish from every known record on the island. By AD 122, another legion, the 6th Victrix, had moved into their fortress at York, with no mention of what happened to the Ninth or where they went. That abrupt silence is what gave birth to the most romantic and enduring theory. The entire legion marched north into Caledonia, modern-day Scotland, to put down a rebellion and was completely annihilated, swallowed whole by the mists and the tribes. This is the story that was made famous by Rosemary Sutcliffe's novel, The Eagle of the Ninth. It's a heck of an image. 5,000 of Rome's best ambushed and wiped out in the bleak Scottish Highlands, their sacred eagle standard lost to the enemy. The timing even seems to fit. Just after the Ninth disappears, Emperor Hadrian, who favored a more defensive strategy, ordered the construction of his famous wall. Was the wall a symbol of Roman power, or was it a giant tombstone, a desperate barrier thrown up in response to a military disaster so huge the empire didn't even dare to mention it? It's a great story, but it has one fatal flaw. There's absolutely zero evidence. For all the searching, not a single trace of a Ninth Legion battlefield has ever been found in Scotland. No mass graves, no scattered swords, no Roman belt buckles. nothing. As historians point out, you can't lose a battle without leaving behind the debris of a battle. While Roman forces definitely took beatings in the north, the idea of an entire legion being wiped off the map without a trace just doesn't add up. The ghost army of Scotland, it seems, is probably just a ghost story. So, if the 9th didn't die in Scotland, where did they go? Well, the answer probably isn't found in a single dramatic battle, but in the boring, bureaucratic machinery of the Roman Empire. The clues that started to unravel the Scottish theory weren't found in Britain at all, but on the European mainland. In the city of Nijmegen in the Netherlands, archaeologists dug up roof tiles and pottery stamped with the mark of the 9th Legion. These items date to around the time the Legion vanished from British records, suggesting at least a part of the unit was transferred from Britain to the Rhine frontier. This wasn't strange. The Romans were constantly shifting not just whole legions, but smaller specialized detachments called vexellations, all across the empire to plug gaps and handle new threats. The Nijmegen evidence suggests the 9th's disappearance wasn't a sudden event, but a gradual redeployment. It's very possible the entire legion was quietly moved off the island sometime after AD 108, leaving their fortress in York for a new unit. Suddenly, this isn't a ghost story anymore. It's a missing persons case. Their name didn't vanish because they were destroyed. It vanished because they were posted somewhere else. This opens up a whole new world of possibilities. If they weren't in Britain, then their final fate has to be found on one of the other chaotic frontiers of the Roman world. The trail didn't go cold in Scotland, it just crossed the English Channel. Once we follow the evidence off of the island of Britain, we're left with two grim but much more likely scenarios for the 9th's final end. A legion's records going silent still needs an explanation, and the most common reason a legion was struck from the official lists was because it was completely destroyed in battle. Two major wars in the 2nd century offer the most likely candidates for the 9th's last stand. The first possibility is the Bar Kokhba revolt in Judea, a vicious and bloody war that raged from AD 132 to 135. Roman sources tell us Emperor Hadrian had to pull in legions from all over the empire to crush the rebellion.
The legions must move now. All routes converge on Judea. We crush this rebellion swiftly.
The historian Cassius Dio records that the Romans suffered staggering casualties and that at least one legion was completely wiped out. Frustratingly, he never tells us which one. Could the 9th have been moved from the Rhine to the Middle East, only to be destroyed in the brutal guerrilla warfare of the Judean hills? It's a very strong possibility, even though no definitive proof of the 9th has ever been found there. A second theory points to a war with the powerful Parthian Empire around AD 161. Once again, Cassius Dio reports that an unnamed Roman legion was totally annihilated in a catastrophic ambush at Elageia in Armenia. By this point, the 9th would have already been off the official legion lists for decades. If they were the unit destroyed by the Parthians, it would perfectly explain their permanent disappearance from the records. Their story would have ended right there, another casualty on a distant, violent frontier. This end is far less romantic than the Scottish legend. There are no ghosts in the mist, only the grim, attritional reality of ancient warfare, where a unit with centuries of glory could be erased in a single afternoon, their memory lost to the paperwork of a sprawling empire. So, what really happened to the lost 9th Legion? That romantic tale of a ghost army swallowed by the Scottish Highlands is almost certainly a myth, a powerful story born from a gap in the official records. The real journey of the 9th seems to be one of transfer and redeployment, a path that led them from Britain to mainland Europe and, most likely, to an unceremonious end in the east. Whether they met that fate in the hills of Judea or on the plains of Armenia, we may never know for sure. Their disappearance isn't a supernatural event, but a stark reminder of how empires work. The 9th Legion wasn't erased by a curse, but by the relentless, grinding machinery of the very empire it served. Their true mystery isn't how they vanished, but how easily a story, a legacy, and 5,000 men can be forgotten by history. The search for evidence continues, and every new archaeological dig holds the potential for an answer. Until then, the silence of the 9th Legion remains one of history's most compelling unsolved cases. What theory do you believe? Was it a forgotten battle in Scotland after all? A desperate last stand in Judea? Or a catastrophic defeat in Parthia? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Unraveling a mystery like the 9th Legion shows you that history isn't static, it's an active investigation. If you love digging into these historical cold cases as much as we do, hit that subscribe button and ring the bell. You won't want to miss where the evidence takes us next.